Okay, we'll start the meeting of the December 2019 General Government meeting. Apologize to everybody in the audience there. We had a long last meeting. First up, for agenda.
So moved.
Support. We have a motion and support. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Board. Next up, item 3 will be the public comment, first round.
Good morning. My name is Roger Gady. I live at 2682 Vineyard Lane, and I'd like to say again good morning to the county commissioners and the county administration staff. I'm here to ask for a nomination to the Parks Commission. From my early childhood, prior to elementary school, I lived on the east side of Cleveland. Behind our backyard was an open area. I won't say it was a field. I can't remember any grass. I remember gravel, dirt, and cinders, because most of the heating at that era was by coal. I received 2 injuries, mostly my fault, but still have the scars from those injuries. Obviously, it wasn't a good playground for young children. That's one reason I've had a long interest in the parks and recreation, is to provide areas that most people appreciate, keep some areas open. Again, that's what people appreciate. And I've been through a number of planning commission workshops, and it's been made very clear that new industry, when they're moving in, they look at that type of facility, or plural facilities, to relocate or to locate. Jackson County is very blessed to have, as of this time, 17 parks, which includes one of the best trails in the state of Michigan, the Falling Waters Trail. And that's considered to be a linear park, and it's also being connected with other trails. Do I have a time here? Yes. Oh, about 50. I see that. Thank you very much. So again, I'd like to ask for your nomination to the Parks and Recreation Board. And I've had some prior experience as being a commission member, and I continue to attend the meetings as a private citizen as they're held. And good morning and have a great day.
Good morning. My name is Jan Seitz, and I'm here today to seek your support to continue. My name is Jan Seitz. I'm here this morning to ask for your continued support to continue to serve on the Parks Commission. I have done so. It is the parks are one of our greatest assets here in Jackson County. It is one of the few counties that have the quality of parks that we currently do have. And I would like to continue to serve because I believe consistency is important as we move ahead in making many changes that have happened with the new millage for the parks. So I appreciate your attention, and I again am seeking your support to continue to serve on the Parks Commission. Thank you.
Morning, I'm Michael Way. I'm with Jackson County Parks Board also. I'm not up for re-election, so I'm here to sell you a Christmas present. The parks have created a 2020 calendar. I showed some of you at the 8 o'clock meeting, and I showed you my favorite picture of the Cascades Falls. That was the month of May. Now in the month of March is my second favorite picture, and it's of the ice cream store. That's because I attend there a lot. Anyway, the calendars are $20, and the proceeds go to help keep up the Sparks Park beauty. Thank you. I'll be around after the meeting if you're interested.
Any further public comment? Thank you. We'll move on to the next.
I'll make a motion to appoint Stephen Reisner to the library board. Aye.
Me, myself. Whoa. 3 seats open here. They're all till 2020. The first seat is currently held by Joseph Beeman. The applicants all are Joseph Beeman, Jan Seitz, Jeff Snyder, Corey Richardson, Roger Gady, and Charles Wilson. So Joseph Beeman's seat will be the first. We is a current member, and we're going to fill that seat first. We'll take them one at a time. Okay, we have Joseph Beeman. Any other nominations? This is for Parks Board.
I'll make a motion for Charles Wilson.
Okay. Any further nominations for this seat? If not, we'll proceed to vote.
Commissioner Wells,
Joseph Beeman.
Commissioner Kennedy,
Charles Wilson.
Commissioner Tompkins, Commissioner Mahoney, Chairman Duckham.
Charles Wilson.
3 for Beeman.
Okay, Joseph Beeman's name will be sent to the full board. The second seat, it's also till 12 of 22, is currently held by Jan Seitz. So we need nominations. Any further nominations?
I'll make a nomination for Corey Richardson.
Okay, Corey Richardson is being considered. Anybody else? Okay, we'll proceed to vote.
Commissioner Kennedy,
Corey Richardson.
Commissioner Tompkins, Commissioner Mahoney, Commissioner Wells, Chairman Duckham.
Jan Seitz, please. Okay, Jan, your nomination will be sent to the full board for consideration next Tuesday. Okay, we have the final and seat to fill. It is also it expires on 12/22, so it's a long term. Or excuse me, 2022. The current member is Jeff Snyder. Do you have any motions from the floor? Any nominations?
Nominate Jeff.
Any further nominations? Send to the floor.
Nominate Corey Richardson.
Okay. Anybody else to be nominated?
I'll nominate Roger Gady.
Okay, we have 3 members to be, to consider. Anybody else? Proceed to vote.
Commissioner Tompkins, Commissioner Mahoney,
Corey Richardson.
Commissioner Wells,
Jeff Snyder.
Commissioner Kennedy,
Corey Richardson.
Chairman Duckham.
Jeff Snyder.
3-4 Richardson.
Okay. Corey Richardson is it. Be sent to the next round at the public meeting next Tuesday. Okay, that concludes our nominations for the board members. Thank you all that have applied. Next we have, pressed the wrong button, it sent me back to yesterday. Okay, next up, we have the treasurer's report. Welcome, Karen.
Good morning. So I think we're gonna, you want me to go ahead and pull the reports up? Okay, thank you. I'm just careful, I just want to make sure I mess this up. So you have before you, and also I sent via email last week, this quarterly report. It's as of December, so November month end was not done yet, so we don't have November reports, at least the monthly fiscal reports to report out. Some things that are going on in our office. As of December 2nd, our total number of parcels in forfeiture is just over 1,000. It's 1124 parcels in forfeiture. This is an increase of about 126 parcels as compared to this time last year. You can see our last December's number there. Our publication, as required by law, that's the notification that is published in our local newspaper, the Jackson Citizen Patriot. That will run December 22nd and December 29th. So you should see a separate insert if you get the paper that has a listing of any and all interested parties to parcels that have delinquent taxes due and owing. And again, as I said, that's required by law. Some dates as we move out of 2019 into 2020. Our first opportunity for taxpayers who are experiencing difficulties with delinquent taxes is our show cause hearing. That's going to be held Wednesday, January 15th, 2020. That hearing is held in this space of the Tower Building. And again, anyone who's interested to come speak to us about some challenges that they're facing, this is their first opportunity to do that. The second opportunity is the, yes? What time is it? I believe it's at 10 o'clock. Yeah, I don't think I've got that notice here, but we usually have people that start checking in at 8 a.m. So it's a very busy day for us, and again, it's the opportunity for those that have an interest in property and they're concerned about getting those taxes paid. So that is for January 15th. The second opportunity is the judicial foreclosure hearing. That is held before Judge LaFlamme this year, and that date is Wednesday, February 19th, 2020, and that's at 1 o'clock. So the upcoming deadline for tax foreclosure is March 31st, 2020. We'll be working very diligently up until that date to prevent foreclosure, as we do every year. Some other things that are going on, not just related to foreclosure. We're offering another form of payment acceptance in our office by working with Point and Pay for interactive voice response. As of right now, when customers want to call in, they can't make a payment over the phone. So this would be an option for them to do that if they wish to do that. The only other option would be they could come in person and make a payment, they could mail their payment in, or they could go online and pay their delinquent taxes that way. So this is another possible option for those to pay taxes. With regard to a property that we currently still own with the Treasurer's Office, if you recall, we foreclosed on the site on Mechanic Street, formerly known as Michener Property. We have been working diligently with the EPA and in Eagle, which was formerly now known as the DEQ, that's their new name, Eagle. We had a site visit again November 5th of 2019, we're still ongoing. They're still coming in and wanting to do testing of the property, the soil, the standing water that's in the property, and I look to that as being a positive sign because the state and the federal agencies are involved in working with us, continuing to work with us on getting that property cleaned up. So I wanted to update you on that. Also, we are in the process of collecting quotes for imaging our tax roll books that are currently stored in the vault. We've got tax roll books that date back from 1986 to 2008. We just need to have those scanned and archived, and they've been in the vault, kind of out of sight, out of mind, and now it's time to get those digitally scanned, and we're working to do that and have it available on OnBase, which is our scanning imaging software that's used throughout the county. So, some other things that I did not put in this report but wanted to at least mention today. Step Forward Michigan, that is the program that I have talked about since 2010. That is the program that is through MISHTA, and we have helped thousands of people in Jackson County and all throughout the state of Michigan help with paying delinquent property taxes. They have now reported that they're down to their last $4 million. So they sent out a notice, I believe 2 weeks ago, and closed their online portal, but they're still taking applications. They are just requesting the applications to be in paper form. So they're moving towards closing down this program. We've been told that it'll continue until the money's run out, but definitely sunset by December of 2020. And this will be a resource that will be sadly missed, unfortunately. Yes?
Question on Step Forward Michigan. I always present at my township meetings.
Yes.
Options people have.
Absolutely.
Is this a loan to be repaid? I want to know the details.
Yes, so it's kind of morphed over the years. Like I said, it's been in place since 2010, but most recently the reiteration is it is a loan that you have to own your house and live in your house, and it is a forgivable loan if you stay in the house for 5 years after you get assistance.
So there's no incentive to pay it back if you plan to stay there?
That is correct.
Okay.
Yes.
It's a gift.
Well, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. And then the last bullet point that I wanted to highlight is we have a part of foreclosure prevention. I have partnered and will partner and continue to partner with South Central Legal Services. We have a date set for our upcoming foreclosure forum, and that date is Tuesday, January 7th, 2020. It will be held at the Jackson Carnegie Library Auditorium from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. And we've done this program last year and even the year before, so we welcome any and all citizens to come to this and ask questions about the tax foreclosure process. Last year we connected people to resources that were in need of assistance prior to foreclosure, so it's a tool, it's a resource. We're doing it after hours. I welcome people to come and talk to us and learn more about the process and ask questions. I can also send this flyer out to each of the commissioners so that you can distribute to your local jurisdictions. It's all about getting the word out and preventing foreclosure. So that is all that I have to report unless there's specific questions.
Or do you have any questions? You've done a very good job. No questions.
Thank you very much. Happy holidays.
Thank you, Karen. Back to you.
Good morning.
Morning.
As you know, effective January 1st, the county will be changing our group health plan carrier from HAP to Blue Cross Blue Shield and Blue Care Network. So that requires 2 amendments, one to our group health plan document and one to our Section 125 cafeteria plan document. The specific changes in the group health plan document reflect the change of the health plan carriers, and we also are putting in some clarification language regarding retiree health eligibility for employees that transfer from a union to a non-union position or the reverse. And then in the Section 125 cafeteria plan amendment, it will reflect changes that we have to make to the It's Your Life program due to the health plan carrier change and respective to health savings accounts and flexible spending accounts. I am open to any questions.
Any questions, board? Okay, what we're requested to do here is adopt amendment number 1 for second amendment and restated group health plan, and amendment number 1 for the fourth amended and restated section 125 cafeteria plan. Need a motion and support? We have a motion and support. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, the same. Motion's passed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Okay, we move on to item 4E, park office and event furniture for American One Credit Union Center. Welcome, Kyle.
Thank you. Good morning. We have a proposal from Kentwood Office Furniture to furnish the new event center. The original quote was around $70,000. We got that down just under $34,000 by acquiring some gently used equipment from Consumers Energy for a donation, so that was very, very nice. This is funded by capital funding from the county, so it's not Parks Millage funding, and it was approved by the Parks Board just last week.
Thank you. Any discussion, questions? Okay, I'd like to point out that this is, once again, from the county capital fund, because there tend to be rumors floating purchases there. Motion, do we need a support?
Sorry,
Okay,
question, does he move to the...
yes. Yes. Well, no, I don't think we do. We approve it right here.
If I may, Mr. Chair,
Yes, yes, sir.
if General Government Committee would prefer it to go to the full board, that would be just fine, or you may approve it here, it'd be your choice.
I'll make a motion to send it to the full board.
And motion support, this will go to the full board for final approval then. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Those opposed, the same. Passes unanimously then, it'll go to the full board. Next up, we have another parks item. Parks resolution of adoption for the Jackson County Recreational Plan, the 2020 through 2024 edition.
Yeah, well, Grant and I will tag team this. We've been working with Region 2's office since early spring on updating our 5-year recreation plan, which our current plan expires at the end of 2019. So this plan is for 2020 to 2024. This plan, of course, makes us eligible for state grant funding through the Michigan Department of Natural Resources. The plan was available for public comment and review for 30 days. And then the Parks Board did approve the plan last week. So today we're looking for this board to adopt the plan. And then anything you want to add, Grant?
I am available to go through a synopsis of what's contained in the plan if the commissioners would like that, but I don't want to do that if it's not necessary.
Well, Grant, if you worked on it, I'm sure it's fine, but anybody else have any questions? Discussion on this? Chairman Chatwell.
So that the committee understands, by approving this and moving it forward to the full board, this lays out for us the next 5 years of our parks and recreation plan, and if there are any items that are missing, or that you have Tuesday night again to add something, if you feel there's a need for stuff to be put in the public comment section to become aware of. Now, Grant, this takes into account the possibility of any new parks plan, in new parks property and everything like that, and it is mentioned within the plan. I see Kyle nodding yes.
Correct, that is true.
So understand that by things appearing in the parks plan, also it makes available then for the Jackson County to go forward with approaching the state of Michigan's land trust for the possibility of capital investment then in Jackson County parks, where we don't have to spend all of our money to be able to do stuff, correct?
Correct. It leverages, it's a 25% local match minimum. Usually we try and do more than that, just to, because it's a very competitive process, but it does leverage our local dollars considerably.
So, yeah, so for the next 5 years, this is what we'll be working from to be able to try to leverage that money, whether it be at Keeley Park or any new properties or anything like that going forward. Thank you.
I have a question, kind of dovetails into Chairman Shotwell's questions. This plan is amendable, correct?
Yes,
yeah,
it is.
okay. So if we see something along the way that we missed, 3 years down the road, or other opportunities come along, we can deviate a little bit.
Definitely, but we also structured the plan to, it's pretty comprehensive, and we don't have to have a specific, we do have a very detailed listing of projects that we'd like to have funded that goes above and beyond what the state requires, but as long as if a project comes up that wasn't anticipated, as long as it's covered by one of the strategies in the plan, then it doesn't have to go forward for amendment. But yes, but it can still be amended.
Thank you.
Tony has a question down here.
Tony, go ahead.
Does this proposal include the purchase of the lowland along the Grand River?
There's a project that would be covered at the confluence of the Portage and Grand River that would be covered. It's not a specific project in it's not in the action program, but it is talked about and it is covered by a goal. So it is mentioned there.
Okay. Okay, I've looked at that land, I've looked at the photos that have been presented by Parks. I guess for one, I'm not in favor of purchasing that land. I've looked at the photos of the rivers there. I mean, the photos indicate that it's I'd call it more of a flowing mudslide than a water river. All kinds of trees and stuff in that part of both the Grand and the Portage rivers. There's areas where, no, you couldn't get a canoe or a kayak down there without coming up to logs all the way across the entire river and getting your canoe, kayak over. It's not a place that I would go canoeing or kayaking just because of the amount of debris in the water and the dirt in the water. I mean, those, my personal opinion, those rivers are filthy.
Tony,
Have somebody,
we kind of got off topic here.
pardon me?
We're going to approve the 5-year plan. It's amendable, so if
It
that
is.
comes up in the future,
Okay, we can take it out of this plan?
pardon me?
We can take it out of this plan in the
No.
future?
No, it's in the all comprehensive plan. It could be a piece of property someplace else even. But it was spoken of, but not, it'll be a different topic. We're not discussing that now. I mean, this is the whole plan we're talking about.
Okay, well, if the plan has pieces that I'm opposed to, then I'm opposed to the plan.
Okay, but we don't need to know everything right now. That part would come up if we moved on to make the purchase, so we'd want to know all the detail.
Okay, a different question?
Go ahead.
I represent 5 townships in the northwest part of the county. There's only one county park in those 5 townships. That's in Tompkins. That's the Minard Mills Park. At the last Tompkins Township meeting I was at, somebody told me that there was no water at the site. Yet the list of assets in the different sites, states that there's a modern restroom. So I went out there yesterday, and it appears that very recently a well was installed. The backfilling of the trench hasn't even been raked out or smoothed off or seeded yet. Can you tell me, is that restroom currently? Does it have water supply? Is it usable?
You know, it was very recently. It was just in the last few weeks, so I'd have to double check with our maintenance supervisor to make sure it's up and running.
I'm
But
sorry, I can't hear you.
yeah, we just did have a new well installed at Minard Mills. I guess I'm not sure if it's completely complete, but that was a recent project that we completed there.
Okay. Because I've got constituents asking me from 5 townships, the millage that was passed, they're paying into it, but yet Minard Mills isn't on your 5-year plan to do anything. So they're wondering, why are they paying and they're not getting anything?
That's one of the challenges. We've got 17 parks spread out over multiple, parts of the county. So to get every park in the first 5 years is it's probably not really feasible. But there's other projects that we're doing that are spreading throughout the county. We're adding picnic tables and some general park improvements throughout the county to spread it around. But you're correct, there's not a larger project that's specified in this current 5-year plan. But like Grant said, this is flexible enough that if something arose and some new opportunity presented itself, this doesn't stop us from doing something there. And any specific project that we do would still need to come to this board depending on the funding level. So this plan doesn't commit to approving these projects or approving funding for these projects. This is just a wish list essentially for our best guess of where projects might land at this time.
Okay, this will be going to the full board, Tony, so if you want to talk to the parks about something that the townships wish to have, maybe you can do it before Tuesday, and it could be slid in possibly, but it's just a snapshot picture of what we would like our parks to be. And I appreciate your concern over your area. Commissioner Mahoney.
Good morning. Just a really quick question, and I think I kind of know the answer already. I just can't remember exactly where it was at. It seems like I remember in the Parks Board meeting this week that last week that there was some additional information added on the Lagoons project. I just wanted to make sure that I was correct being added somewhere within this 5-year plan. I know there wasn't a dollar amount attached to it because it hasn't been costed out, but I just wanted to make sure that was included in this 5-year
Yes,
plan.
we added we noted the concern and the interest in what's being called the Cascade Lagoons system vision, and that was added to the public involvement chapter 3, and then it was also added to the table containing the action program, although there is not a specific date or a dollar amount assigned to that like there are other projects, simply because that's still, it's too early in the process to make those determinations.
Do you have any program in place where you have either your lawnmower drivers or somebody walk the area to see if there's any potential hazards in the parks that we get dinged for later on? You know, there's a large chuck hole here and a person steps in it and breaks their ankle or something else happens like that. Who looks for those things and who reports to them?
Yeah, that would be our maintenance crew. That's they've got checklists and various things that they look for at each park when they're out there at various points. So whether it's weekly or monthly, there's different things that they look for when they're out in different parks.
Okay, thank you.
Is 4G, it'll be our Parks and Cascades Lagoon recommendation. What do we? Motion, I need a motion to receive.
Already got it.
All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same, passes unanimously. This is the printed recommendation. Good morning, Jeff.
Good morning.
Is this the one that's the same as the one in our packet, or in addition to it? The one that's in our packet also?
The third page of the first of the two stapled documents, you see the recommendation of the Parks Commission. That's recommendation to remove the plate from in front of the 36-inch culvert that exists on the west side of the pond that the Cascades Manor overlooks. That plate can be found on the last sheet of that second packet that was sent around. The purpose of its being removed is to lower the water surface elevation of the lagoon system, starting with the pond there that the Cascade Manor overlooks, continue northerly to provide relief to the drainage system that comes off of Douglas Street. If you look at the photographs, about mid-packet colored photographs, you can see the culvert outletting headwall structure with the culvert outletting Douglas Street storm drain, a city storm sewer system. The following sheet shows the downstream path as it meanders to the park's walking path. The following photograph is a picture of the culvert that outlets underneath that walking path. That photograph dated 1/6/19. As you can see, the water surface elevation of that system is very high, well higher than it has been historically, as evidenced by the sheets 2 and 3 of that second packet. Sheet 2 shows the headwall structure of the Prado Bridge as photographed in 1967. The third sheet shows the water surface elevation more recently. Very little of that headwall structure is visible. So the plan is not to go in and construct at this time a lagoon system rebuild. It's merely to lower that water surface elevation, then study the effects that that's going to have on the pond that the Cascade Manor overlooks, and the effect that it has on the northern system of lagoons, as well as the drainage there being outletted through the city storm sewer on Douglas Street. Again, the motion we're looking for is to authorize the director of the Parks Department to facilitate the removal of that plate from in front of the 36-inch culvert and clean the deadfall that may be required downstream of that to allow the flowage of water through that culvert. Any questions?
Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Williams.
Good morning. In the event that this is passed on to the full board and then is approved, when would the removal of the plates begin?
Barring any complications, fairly quickly.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Welcome.
Question. When we release this water, what's the effect going to be downstream? Are we going to cause another problem? Should be
Look
done-
at the first map on the second packet. You'll see the lagoon system up in the upper right-hand corner, closest to the staple.
Okay.
Those lagoon systems then flow underneath Denton Road, and you'll see the pond that the Cascade Manor overlooks. The west end of that pond, it goes into a water course that traverses the Cascades Golf Course. As you leave the golf course property, it then goes into the Kibbe Drain, which is also unimproved, not developed on either side. The Kibbe Drain then flows westerly and exits through the Lumen Christi property, across Spring Arbor Road, and outlets into the McCain Drain. But the recommendation that was made to the Parks Commission was to lower that, remove that plate over a period of time, so the water doesn't just rush out, it will ease out of the lagoon system.
Yes, okay. That's what I was wondering. We don't want to flood the guys out downstream with a big surge. I don't know if there's enough volume there to do it anyhow, just to,
We'll be lowering it hopefully around 17 and a half, 18 inches. But again, the recommendation is not to do that all at once.
okay, that's my question. Any other questions? Have a motion to support, move it on? We have motion and support. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, the same. Passes unanimously. So go to the full board. Press the wrong button. Excuse me. Okay, next up, we will have item 4H, our October financial report. Welcome, Cecilia.
Good morning. So our October financial statements look really well, came in really well. Our budget benchmark is 83.3%. Our expenditures were below that benchmark. And our revenue percent total is 90.5, which is above our actual three-year average of 85.1. So October looked really good when it come to revenues and expenditures for our budget. So are any questions that I can answer?
Question on our financial report? Good job.
Okay. All right.
I believe you're up next. Let me see what the topic is. You have financial audit. This is 4I.
Yes, so our 2018 audit was the last of a 5-year contract that we had. So we did go out and request RFPs, and we did receive 5 proposals, and they are listed in the staff report along with the costs. We did have an audit committee, and based on the cost, experience, and expertise, Raymond did come in as the highest rated firm. And on page 2 of the staff report lists the 5 years and the cost that of doing the audit will be. And then per our board policy 1170, since Raymond has audited the county in the last 5 years, we are requiring a rotation of staff. And that is acceptable to them, and that was in their RFP that they knew they would be doing that. So I asked if there was any questions or...
Questions on the audit firm? Go ahead, Corey.
Taking into account that Raymond's approximately 31,000 more than Yao and Yao. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly.
It's Yo and Yo. but
Yao and
yes. So some things that we looked at when we were looking at expertise and experience is that it was very important to us as a committee and for the county is that they have road commission experience, and they didn't have any road commission experience listed. And the counties that they listed were three small counties, and so that wasn't comparable. Huh? Did I bring that with me? I don't have that with me, I apologize. But their populations were like ranging from 26,000 to maybe 50,000. And our, of course, our population is 160,000, so. And then they also listed just one county for our GFOA award experience, and that's also very important to us, is that we continue to receive that. And that's something Raymond is an expertise that we know, so.
And then Andrews, Hooper, Pavlik.
It's another situation. They didn't have any road commission experience either. And they had one small county listed as a reference, and they didn't have any experience listed in their RFP for the GFOA or federal awards. Doesn't mean they don't have it, it's just they didn't list it in the RFP as we requested. So we had to rate that down.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Further questions? Commissioner Waltz.
I would vote.
Thank you, sir. Need support? Support. We have motion and support. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, the same. It'll go to the full board. Q on that. Do we have something else? Yes. 4J, we have finance budget amendments.
Yeah, these are just some additional budget amendments that I identified that I wanted to get approved before year end, so.
Questions, board? Okay, we have a motion and support. All in favor of the budget amendments indicate so by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, the same. Passes unanimously. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We'll move on to item 4K, Administrator Controller. Was Mike going to talk about this, or?
This was put on the agenda at the request from study session. Unfortunately, Mike is sick today. We have germs going around our office, so he is not able to be here today, but this was placed on the agenda based on the request from study session. He didn't indicate if there was additional comments he wanted to make, but I'm happy to try and answer any questions, and Christopher's here as well.
What's your preference? I'm good with it. Do you guys want to move on? Oh, okay, okay. We'll just go to discussion then.
Okay. And I think I know the answer, but I just want everyone to be clear. The goal is that we're doing this in an effort not to hire another parks director. Correct?
I understand it. I mean, it's
Based on what Mike indicated,
validating.
I believe that is the intent, but they want to work through this and see how it works out, is what I understand.
Okay, because where I don't want to end up is it doesn't work. We end up hiring a parks director, and we've given fairly substantial raise. So I don't want to do this under the guise to the community that we're saving labor cost, and then 6 months down the road, that changes. So I really am hopeful that if it wouldn't work out, that he would go back to his other position. Otherwise, I have full confidence in him. I don't think we are going to need to hire anybody, but I just want to make sure that that is the end goal and we're all on the same page.
Commissioner Mahoney.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Just in all fairness and transparency, in the Parks Board meeting, there was a few of the Parks Board members who had some concerns about the needs of having an actual Parks Director. I will be in support of this under the same the same pretenses that if this doesn't work out and that if the county administrator and staff feels like that it will be necessary for us to eventually or at some point hire a actual parks director, that this decision be back down to the regular position or at least monetarily. And I understand Mike is ill right now, but we'll be looking for some confirmation from Mike that we wouldn't be down the road adding additional on top of this due to, you know, that capacity not being able to be filled for some reason.
The discussion?
I can relay that to him. I'll make sure that that's clear.
I'd just like to say something. I think Christopher Bolt is a good leader. He creates teams to create efficiencies. That's what's happened out at the road commission. He has good vision, and I got full faith and confidence that he'll do the job. Good, great, probably. I also have full faith and confidence if we come up short, we'll fix the problem. Don't get anywhere if you don't try. So I got full faith and credit.
Okay, I'll make a motion to send it to the full board.
We have motion and support. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same. Passes unanimously. Thank you. Go on to 4L. This is a policy update, policy number 3340. I assume everybody's read it? Want to talk to this, Deb, or?
I can address the questions that came forward with regard to the driving history. We did consult our attorney related to that request to run a driving record on every employee that is hired. And our attorney indicated that unless it is specifically required of the position, if we run a driving history and something comes up, it cannot be used against them unless it is correlated with the job. So that is why we did not move driving history up to a required inquiry prior to employment.
Question on this board? Okay. A motion, we need support. We have motion and support. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, the same. Moving on next to 4M. Another policy update, policy number 3200.
This one was just cleaning up a couple of things, so not a lot of changes here, just clean up a little language.
Board comfortable sending this forward? We have motion and support. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, the same. Passes unanimously. Thank you. Move on to item 5. The claims. I need a motion and support to pay the claims. Motion and support. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, the same. I'll remind everybody to get your signature on that if you haven't already. Other meetings, 5B, I think finance is the only one scheduled at this point. No, there are no other minutes. The January reporting schedule only shows finance. So we'll return to item 6, but we'll return to public comment. Yes, sir, Roger, we'll wait for you to get up there. Thank you. Thank you.
I would like to thank this committee for consideration of a nomination for myself. And further, I would like to wish all members a Merry Christmas. And because it comes so quickly after Christmas, a very Happy New Year.
Any further public comment?
And Mike White from the County Parks, appreciate all your support of the park system this morning, your questions and your concerns, and those were all noted. Especially like to thank you for the addition of Mr. Bolt. And if you were excited about his expertise coming to the parks, if you've ever been to a lot of our parks, I'll give you 2 examples. One is the Pleasant Lake Campground, where the roads going through the campground and the parking lot are just disasters. And the Clark Lake parking lot in the Clark Lake County Park is just a disaster, and that's where Mr. Bolt is really going to move us forward, and we give a heavy road to go in the next 9 years with our millage, and we get to renew it in 9 years, and we really got a lot of things we got to do so we can assure the public that in this 10 years span, we've spent their money wisely, and so hopefully they can renew it, and that's where Mr. Bolt's going to come in and really help us be good stewards of the taxpayers' money with the millage. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further public comment? Move on to item 7, Commissioner comments. Commissioner Mahoney.
I just want to say thank you to all who applied to volunteer their time to our boards and commissions. Thank you, Mr. Gady, for being such a dedicated member of our community, as well as the rest of the Parks Board committee members. And good meeting, Phil.
Thank you. Any further comment? The meeting's adjourned. Thank you for coming.